Hey, welcome back to Pavo Plays. And today we're gonna be doing something a little different. My very first, in a way, a deck tech video talking about the tech of the deck. I posted a video recently of my Black Widow protection deck that played against the Wrecking Crew, and it was a requested video. And now maybe I'll talk a bit about the cards that go in that specific deck. The deck is in the description below as well. You can take a look, and I'll post a link to that video of my playthrough with the Wrecking Crew. But yeah, so let's go through my Black Widow protection deck, and I'll run you through some of the reasons why certain cards were picked and how they stack up. Okay, so let's go through Black Widow first. Natasha Romanoff, she's 3 recovery, hand size of 6. Sorry, the glare's a bit there. Hit points 9. Her ability, mission prep. After you play a preparation card, draw 1 card. So just based on her itself, and I'll just go through the hero side as well. She has 2 thought, 2 attack, 2 defense. After you trigger the ability of preparation card you control, deal 1 damage to an enemy. Her hit points 9, hand size 5. So based on this itself, you know that you sort of want to stack up preparation cards in your deck. Now let's take a look at the cards that she has going in her deck. First off, her Dance of Death, which is essentially a very good AoE or area of effect cards. Cost 3. It allows you to make the following 3 attacks: 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 attacks. Note that it does not say to a different enemy, so if you want, you could stack all 6 on 1 or split up this 1, 2, 3 amongst 3 different enemies or 2 different enemies if you wanted to as well. So very good card, Dance of Death. Covert Ops is her way of removing threat. Cost 3, remove 4 threat from a scheme and confuse the villain. Note that it does not say confuse that villain. So if you're playing in a deck like the Wrecking Crew where you have multiple villains, you could remove 4 threat from the main scheme and confuse any one of the Wrecking Crew guys. Okay, next are her enablers. So she's got a Gauntlet. Actually, she's got another enabler that I'll put out. So the Black Widow's Gauntlet costs 1, and what it does is you can exhaust it to generate a, sorry about the glare, exhaust it to generate a wild card, a wild resource for preparation card. So it's very good for building up your preps late or early in the game. Draw it, play it. Winter Soldier is pretty much a late game card. It's a 4-cost ally, 2 thought, 2 attack. For health, reduce the cost to play Winter Soldier by 1 for each prep card you control. So if you have 4 prep cards out, it's a free 2/2 with 4 health. Very good. Alright, before we go into our prep cards, let's look at a few more enablers. So her Safe House is a 1-cost support that allows you, when you're in Alter Ego, to exhaust the Safe House and choose a prep card in your discard pile and add it to your hand. So it's a very good way to combo off certain cards. You could play a prep card and use another prep card to play for the cost. Using Black Natasha Romanoff, draw a card, and then using the Safe House to draw back that prep card that you used to pay the cost. So essentially it's you sort of gaining cards for playing a prep card. So, you know, for example, if you have this and your hand just happens to be like this, you could discard 1 attack acrobat to play this attack acrobat. Use Natasha to draw a card because of her ability, and then use the Safe House to bring back that attack acrobat to your hand. Okay, so value, it's a very good card for value. Alright, another of enabler, the Stealth Suit, Sing Suit, 3-cost upgrade. I seldom play this card out because of the high cost, but if you ever do, it's good because it gives her that needed +1 defense. Black Widow probably won't be attacking or thwarting much. You'll see in the game that I play, I've used her mainly to thwart more than anything else. Okay, response. After you trigger the ability of a preparation card you control, exhaust Sin Suit, ready Black Widow. So really, if you do get a chance to play this, please, it is invaluable. You can defend and then attack in the same turn, or scheme or thwart and then use her to defend again. So it's quite good. Alright, now let's go on to her prep cards. She has 3 different prep cards, 2 of each in her identity set, or rather the Black Widow set. Now, Attack Robotics is a 1-cost upgrade. Preparation, attack preparation spell. Hero interrupt. When the boost card is turned face up, discard attack aerobics, cancel the boost icons on that card, deal 1 damage to the villain for each boost icon cancelled this way. So if you don't want to defend, you think you can take the, usually it's about 2 damage, you take the 2 damage, and if you've an attack aerobics in play, even if he boosts 3, you can still cancel it and deal damage back to him. Okay, very useful. Essentially it's still +1 because most likely you'll be in this phase and then you'll be able to trigger the ability and deal 1 more back to the opponent, to the enemy. Widow's Bite, it really depends on what kind of deck you're playing. If you're playing against Ultron, it's actually quite good. Or rather, if you're playing against any deck with minions, tons of minions, it's quite good. So 1 cost upgrade, preparation tech. After a minion enters play, discard Widow's Bite, deal 2 damage to that minion and stun it. Usually the 2 damage, if you're playing against Ultron, usually the 2 damage will kill all the Ultron drones. But yeah, still very good. 3 damage if you consider Black Widow's ability. Grappling Hook costs 2. Preparation tech, when you reveal a treachery, discard Grappling Hook, cancel the effects of that treachery. Oh, very, very good card for one of those surprise rounds where you know that you're gonna die that round. If you have a Grappling Hook out, you're probably safe, and you can attempt more riskier stunts. Alright, let's see what goes on in her other deck. Let's go through the basic cards first, pretty standard. Basic cards are standard. Your 3 2 energy enablers, strength, energy, and genius. Nick Fury and Mockingbird is pretty much a staple in most of my solo decks. They're always in there, along with the Avengers mentioned and very good, and Helicarrier. Okay, so these are pretty much staples in all my decks. In case you don't know what it does, Nick Fury is a 4 cost 2/2, 3 health. After he enters place, choose 1, either remove 2 threat from the scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage. At the end of the round, if Nick Fury is in play, discard him. Always have him out when you are in hero mode, so he can be used to block one of the attacks. And anyway, he dies at the end of the round, so good value. Mockingbird's also a very good staple, 3 cost for 1/1, but it's an ability. When Mockingbird enters play, stuns an enemy, so it helps you save 1 round of attacks. Avengers mentions 4 costs, just exhaust to choose a player, that player draws a card. In a solo, it just means exhaust to draw a card. So similarly, if Helicarrier, 3 costs, exhaust to choose a player, reduce the resource cost of the next card placed by this player. That player plays this phase by 1. So again, it's a way to enable your many of your cheap cards to come out for free. Alright, the ones that are not so prevalent in any of my other decks are, I'll discuss this one first. Honorary Avenger. Now there's two reasons why I include this. Firstly is in a pinch, it gives your Natasha +1 hit point. However, I'm including this mainly for the resource cost as well, because it helps in quite a few of the protection cards, which I'll show you later. Okay, and you have 3 of Espionage. Now Natasha's a spy on both sides of her card, so you don't have to worry like, play only when you have an Avenger. Noted that this one you need for her to be in her hero form for you to play this. But this one's pretty much a cheap preparation card, so you can trigger with both sides of Black Widow. When the search keyword on an encounter card will be resolved, discard it to draw 2 cards. There's a lot of search in this game. Although in my game with Wrecking Crew, it only triggered like twice, so I had 3 of these out. But they were good fodder for those cards that say discard and upgrade. So I guess it wasn't that big of a loss. But it's good because it stays on table, doesn't take up your hand. Whenever a search card is played, boom, 2 extra cards for you to use next turn. Alright, let's go into our aspect. We played protection with Black Widow, so there's a lot of things that trigger off her defending, which she will be doing most of with the Honorary Avenger, as well as her Synth Suit gives her extra protection, extra defense, sorry. So 2 power protection, standard card. You can use it to pay for 2 resources, double the resources this card provides, so it pays 2 resources for protection card. Our allies, we've only chosen 2. Nova and Luke Cage, they both cost 4. Nova has a 1/2 attack. Luke Cage has 1/2 attack. Similarly, Luke Cage has higher health. But Nova's ability, when an enemy initiates an attack against you, spend an energy resource, deal 2 damage to the enemy. That's good. I've only gotten him to trigger once in one of my games. But when he does, it's actually quite good. So he deals, if you've got cards in hand, which you will by playing Espionage as well as the cost reduction cards that you have. Okay, Luke Cage is a beast. He comes in with toughness, so he's able to block at least 3 attacks. 1 attack with the toughness, second attack probably won't get through his health, then the third attack he'll just die. Okay, so good defensive cards. Now, these are the bread and butter of the protection deck, the tackle, which is why you needed that fist resource. So as tackle is a 3-cost event. Stun an enemy. If you played for this card using a fist resource, a might resource, deal 3 damage to that enemy. Useful card, stalls 1 turn and deals 3 damage. 3 off. I'm also playing 3 energy barriers. It's a bit weird, but I find that it really helps because most of the time Natasha will be defending, so she's taking 1 damage, 2 damage, and with her 9 health, every little bit of healing goes a long way. Energy barrier is a 2-cost upgrade. Comes into play with 3 reflection counters. When you would take any amount of damage, remove 1 reflection counter to prevent 1 of that damage and deal 1 to an enemy. So it's quite good. And I'm just going to talk about the armored vest first. It's pretty basic, 1 cost upgrade that just gives your hero +1 defense. Okay, so that puts Natasha at 4 defense if she's got this and her synth suit up. Every turn just block. That's fine. And lastly, 3 preemptive strikes. Preemptive strikes are 1-cost event that allows you to, when a boost card is turned face up, when the villain attacks, cancel all boost icons on that card, then deal 1 damage to the villain for each boost icon cancelled this way. You can see that with this and with the attack acrobatics, Natasha won't be taking much damage. She'll just be reflecting most of her damage away. Tawny Natasha. Okay. Or maybe that's why I should call the deck the Taunts build. Preemptive strike and attack acrobatics really just makes all the boost icons really negligible. And for times when you don't have these in hand, that's when you have Luke Cage, that's when you have your tackle card to stun the enemy, so on and so forth. Alright, so that's a DeckTech review of the Black Widow. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to this video. If you want to see me go through my DeckTech of my other decks that I use, I probably will from now onwards. I'll play a game and then I'll do another video on the DeckTech. And then the reason why I don't want to do this before a particular game is so that if I play multiple games, I can always just refer back to this video. Alright, till then, stay safe. See you guys next time.